Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 109. Tonight, we're going to be talking about what makes a good Nintendo Direct. We've also got some news to talk about, some questions like what's our favorite game from 1991, and how do we feel about cloud gaming? We're talking all of that and more. Well, greetings, fellow Nintendo Pals. My name is Andros. I'm one of the hosts of the Nintendo Pals Podcast, the show all about Nintendo and friendship. And I am joined, as I am joined each and every week, by fellow Nintendo Pal host, all-around cool guy, the best hair, Micah.
Yep.
And Micah, I gotta ask. The music is so loud. Hold on, just letting it play out. How the heck are you?
I'm pretty good.
Well, that's good to hear. Glad to hear it. I'm also doing pretty good. Anything new and exciting going on in the life of Micah?
Not particularly.
You were telling me you're getting a lot of awesome job offers?
Almost.
Almost getting them or almost awesome?
Almost awesome.
Yeah.
And not really that many. Just, it's like essentially like the spam of job searching sites where they just like send you terrible recommendations.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a good week for me. Been busy. I have exciting news. We are business owners now, Micah. Well, you already knew that. I've done.
Wow, what a surprise to me.
Whoa! Hey, yeah, Andros and Micah LLC is an actual LLC that we now have as part of the Nintendo Pals. It's part of our expansion, and we're pretty hyped about that. That's pretty cool. Is that stuff people normally talk about and share in podcasts? Like, hey, we started a business. This podcast and other ventures around it, streaming, YouTubing, like all the stuff that falls in the Nintendo Pals umbrella is all part of that business. So that's pretty cool. It'll be even cooler when it makes money. But it does make a little bit, and that is thanks to the wonderful people that we have supporting us over on Twitch and through our Patreon. So thank you so much to all those who have checked out patreon.com/Nintendo Pals, where you can support us for as low as $3 a month. And we've got people at every tier, some awesome rewards, including a exclusive access to the Nintendo Pals Plus podcast, as well as behind the scenes content, and you get your name on the wall. That's right behind you. For those watching the video, Micah has it on the wall. It's on my wall too. It's a little blurry. Oh no! Wait.
Oh, did some of them fall off as well? So yeah, not only are they blurry, but there's a 50% chance it'll actually be on the ground.
Sorry, Mute Dog and Monkey Thunder. I don't know.
Oh, you shouldn't have named names. They would have had no idea it was them.
They're there. They're on the wall. I need better tape. We'll get some duct tape. Throw it up there. And again, as we promise every week, we'll come up with a more permanent solution for the names on the wall at some point. But then we don't. We just keep the same pieces of paper. Those might fall in the middle of this episode. I don't know how good that tape is. So, with that fantastic opener, let's jump in to this. Micah, you know what we're doing tonight?
What we do every Friday night.
and what we try to do every evening night. We try to take over the world of Nintendo podcasts, and we do that through 5-star reviews. So if you, listener, have not yet left us a 5-star review, you're new here, no problem. 5 stars from all for us. You can leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever else. We check those 4 spots. So if you leave us a review in one of those spots, we will shout you out on the show. Like we are going to shout out the brand new review from Presto the Magnificent on Podchaser. That's right, Presto, longtime listener, amazing guy, and host of Off the Wah, a Nintendo podcast that is very pro Waluigi. And so it's a great podcast already. It's like just with that little bit of knowledge. But he left us a review on Podchaser. You want to read that out for us, Michael?
Yeah, he says, "This is the best Nintendo podcast.
True.
Amazing hosts, incredible banter, and just a fun show in general.
Also true.
This podcast inspired me to create my own, and is the reason that
Very
I'm
true
doing
too.
podcasting at all. It is really good. Listen to it. Not to mention they make amazing YouTube videos as well, which are always well edited and super funny, much like the actual podcast."
Thank you so much, Presto. Do you want to read the next part?
Yeah, and then they also, while I'm here, what's your favorite game that came out in 1991? Which we will answer eventually.
We could just answer it now. He asked it in the review. We'll answer questions in the review. We've done that before.
Yeah. And we're eventually answering it right now.
Yeah, that's also true. So much truth. Michael, what's your favorite game released in 1991?
Obviously, Gradius 3.
That is a fantastic
little space side-scrolling shooter thing.
I feel weird picking this because I feel like I have already picked this, but Super Mario World apparently came out.
It came out somewhere.
This. What was Super Mario World's release date? I'm just going to verify this. 1990. But it might have come out
in Japan, I think.
Yeah, North America came out in 1991. So I'm picking this twice in a row because it's that good. I love this game. But I'm going to give an honorable mention to Battletoads for our buddies Schlimtor and Cosmic, who just absolutely love that game. And Battletoads, I like Battletoads too. It's awesome. And also shout out to A Link to the Past. I thought you said that there wasn't a lot of games on this list. Now I'm looking at this list. There's a lot.
Yeah. Also, shout out to I lost it. Samus Returns. I forgot to look under the Game Boy games as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Super Mario World from me. That's my answer. Thanks so much for the question, Presto. Presto asks questions every single week, and I'm fairly certain there's also a question in the community corner from Presto. So, and you know what? We've talked about it before. There is absolutely no shame. Thank you to everybody who does leave us questions every single week. And for those that just leave them occasionally or just once, you left a question and then never asked another question because we answered it. So it's done. You don't need another answer, right? Perfect. Hey, and thanks to everybody who leaves us 5-star reviews. It really does help out our show so much. Listen, there are a lot of podcasts out there. There are a lot of Nintendo news outlets out there. We cannot do anything to make ourselves the top of those lists. We can't. I mean, I can do some like search engine optimization. I can do some behind the scenes stuff. We can make quality content. But that's hard. What we need is your help. We need the help of everybody listening because that's where that stuff comes from. Truly, it's through 5-star reviews. It's through you sharing with your friends, with your family, with your grandma, your mom, your dog, anybody that will listen to Nintendo Pals podcast. Share it on with them because
I think those last 3 just count as under family.
I mean, yeah, I'm specifying which family you could go to first. Just some examples. You could go to all family, every single family member. If every single one of your family members doesn't know about Nintendo Pals, I mean, what else are you gonna do this weekend? Play Splatfest? Psh, you gotta go spread the word. 5-star reviews. Thank you so much to everybody who does that. Jokes aside, 5-star reviews really do help our show get seen and get boosted in the podcast feed algorithms. And people notice. Publishers go, ooh, this podcast looks like it gets a lot of listens. They'll work with us. They'll send us games to try. And yeah, we get like there's so much that comes from just you leaving a 5-star review. So do it. Go down. Do it. Like stop waiting. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Anything to add to that, Micah?
No, I think you covered it pretty good.
Nice. All right. With that, let's jump into the first segment of our show, and let's talk what you playing. What have you been playing lately, Micah?
I played just last night through Earthworm Jim, which is a fantastic game and potentially the greatest game ever made with a worm as the main character. Or at least I should say greatest series, because
watch out,
there are future
worms.
Earthworm Jim games.
Have you played Worms or seen Worms game?
Where it's like that turn-based attacking.
That's the only other
has a holy hand grenade, if I remember correctly.
That's the only worm-based game I know about.
That's true. I have played some of those, and they are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I agree. Earthworm Jim is fantastic.
Then I guess, and besides that, I've mostly just been playing Splatoon 3. It's been my go-to game.
I have not had a lot of time to game this week, so I haven't played a ton. But for stream, we did another run of Iron Bros, the Mario Maker 2 Iron Bros challenge. That is where I attempt to play through. The goal is 50 levels. My personal goal is 10. 10 levels, 1 life, normal difficulty, endless mode in Mario Maker 2. It's hard. It is very hard, and over the course of the stream, I think I maxed out at like 4 was like the best I got. And to add to that challenge,
the worst.
To add to that challenge, every time I died, I spun a punishment wheel and did a punishment. And that was everything from doing burpees to playing Echo the Dolphin, watching Sonic Adventure cutscenes. Or some of like
you had to play a talking fish, Smash Bros.
Oh yeah, that was pretty brutal. I would be honest, y'all. Like a lot of the punishments chat was suggesting weren't really that bad. The burpees was probably the worst one.
Well, after your little
oh no, I'm sorry. There is one that I've blocked from memory, but peeked its way back in. Ketchup mixed with milk. No one ever try that. Please do not try that at home. It made me ill.
I'm relatively confident it's not actually that bad, and I don't even like ketchup.
Listen, I went into that expecting it to not be bad at all. Like I was like, this is essentially soup, right? Like a tomato
I don't know
soup.
What kind of
like
soup
a milk.
You
a tomato soup is like milk based with tomato.
Is it? I thought it was tomato based.
Yeah, but you mix it with stuff to make it like a creamy soup. No, ketchup and milk. Mm-mm. My body rejected it immediately. I like almost threw up on stream. It was quite insane. So yeah, it was a mix of brutal. I had to buy Five Nights at Freddy's. That was another punishment I got.
Yeah, and you'll have to play that sometime. Just like you'll have to play through Echo the Dolphin now that you got hooked, right? That little taste you got.
I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. It just
Plus, it is a fantastic looking game as well.
Also, yeah, Ghosts and Goblins was another one. People were just punished, but their punishments were like, "Hey, play this random game that is kind of hard." And
kind of hard.
It's not really that punishing. I mean, Ghosts and Goblins was pretty tough, but it was fun. I was having a good time. It wasn't punishing to me.
I mean, you say kind of hard, but you were literally on the first level.
Yeah, but I was having a good time, is
Yeah,
what I'm
I know.
saying.
Yeah,
I
I just
eventually
think
could
you
have
need
done
to
it.
upgrade it to very hard as a game.
Anyways, that was my stream event this week. And then as far as games, I played some Fall Guys, or as my son likes to call it, Small Guys. He's like, "Can we play some Small Guys, Dad? We played some Fall Guys duos." And he really wants to get a victory. He struggles with Fall Guys. So it's especially some of these new maps, because it's a new season right now. Some of these new maps are pretty tough. Are I would say pretty challenging, especially like they really overused those hexagons that disappear when you jump on them.
But those are the best part.
Not in a race where if you end up behind someone, you lose. That was happened to me multiple times. Where it's like, well, that's
Well,
game. I
just
can't do
don't
anything.
be behind the person, obviously.
Yeah,
Simple as
they're
that.
like full tracks though. Anyways. I'm liking the new season. There's some cool stuff. Uh, yeah, had fun with that. Played a little bit of Spelunky, and then I thought very hard about playing Elden Ring, and then realized I don't have space for it currently on my PC.
Oh
So I
yeah,
need
I'm
to
pretty
clear
sure it's
space.
relatively big.
Yeah, I need to clear space, and then I will be playing Elden Ring. Don't you worry, everybody that is wanting me to play Elden Ring. I will be playing it.
And did you hear the news about Spelunky 2? I don't know if this is actually in our news section,
No.
but I believe they just added crossplay. So now
Oh,
you can play
nice.
with anyone you want. I think it's across all systems.
Nice. That's super cool. No, just another reason it's the greatest game of all time. One of the greatest games of all time. I'm a huge fan of when games do that. Personally, crossplay for all. That's the way to do it for sure.
Yep. The consumers win.
I gotta read you this this tweet we got, because I was just reminded of it just now. A review from a new follower on Twitter says, not really a review, but just a comment. Micah's 3-second talking spurts and the awkward silence after Andros takes a break from talking.
I work hard to maintain those awkward silences.
Oh man. Oh, and we're getting a raid from our buddies over at All In Podcast. Thank you guys so much for the raid. Appreciate that. We don't. The raid sound effect didn't go off. I didn't hear it, so it'll probably come at some point. Usually that means it's delayed.
I mean, in that review, does that mean they like the awkward silences?
I can't tell, because they followed us and then left that tweet. I guess they think that's cool.
That's probably their favorite part, I assume. Oh yeah, now who's the one with the awkward silence?
I was giving you a taste. I was giving you a taste of your own medicine, buddy. Pal.
Well, I thought it was good, but I know some people of our duoship tend to think they're maybe not the greatest.
Some people in our duoship think they're not the greatest, as in me.
Potentially.
Who else was there in our duoship? Who
I really didn't think I'd have to explain that.
My brain took a bit to catch up with what you were saying. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. It's only awkward if you make it awkward, right? This is just how we've been podcasting like this for a while. I'm not bothered by it. You bothered by it, Micah?
Nope.
Cool. Let's move on to the next segment of our show. Let's go into the ad break. That's right. We got to talk to y'all about Oh man, I've totally messed up our ad read.
You kind of did. Yeah, what we're really about to do is go to the Nintendo news.
That's right. Hey, listen! Just kidding. It's time for our sponsor.
Support for Nintendo Pals is brought to you by Manscaped.
It's dangerous to go alone, so take Manscaped with you.
Yeah, start using your Triforce of Wisdom by picking up the Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped. Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver deodorant for down under, the Crop Reviver toner, and plus 2 free gifts: the Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag.
Yes, and don't you worry, Zoras, because the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is waterproof, so you can trim that hair even in the water temple. And while you are at it, you can use the Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner and Ultra Premium body wash to get a squeaky clean.
Well, excuse me, princess. Is there a way I can save on some Manscaped products?
It's a secret to everybody, but you can get 20% off plus free shipping with our code NPALS at manscaped.com.
That's NPALS at manscaped.com.
Thank you. Listen, jokes aside here, we love the Manscaped products. Hold on. I've got
Oh, you're ready to
two
grab
products.
stuff.
Yeah, I got two products right here. It was a little far to the side here. The Manscaped deodorant, which I am loving how that smells, and the Crop Preserver, which is it's great. If you have stank, it's a fantastic way to prevent having that come onto your body. So yeah, I
That was an
no
interesting
joke
way
use.
of wording that.
Yeah, well, I word good.
I liked it though.
I no joke use Manscaped products every single day because they're that good. They're quality. So yeah, it's no
Cool.
longer a secret to everybody. That's all I have to say about that. Micah? What Micah, you're using your Manscaped stuff too, right? How are you
Yep,
enjoying it?
it's good. And I
It's good.
use it.
It's good and I use it. What a glowing recommendation. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring our podcast. And again, use code NPALS at manscaped.com and you can get a pretty good discount and free shipping. Helps the show out. And, you know, all we can really say is thank you. So now let's
Hopefully
move
you
on.
get that quote, what that's in reference to.
If you don't, then you're not a true Zelda fan. If you don't know Beetle, then you're not a real Zelda fan. That's
He's
that's a
easily
fact.
top 5 greatest Zelda characters. So
I mean, maybe top one greatest Zelda characters. Maybe. Who's to say, though? Not us. We're not going to define that right now because we got to go and talk about some news in the Nintendo news. Well, you know, we had a bazillion news items to talk about last week, so it's only natural that this week's a little bit slower. But hey, we've got community questions and a pretty kickin' pal topic to discuss. So this may be a shorter section, but who knows? Maybe we'll dive into some of this stuff. Starting with first news item. The new update for Mario Strikers is out now. Includes Diddy Kong and Pauline, plus new stadiums, new gear, and several fixes and improvements. There's like some changes made to the home menu. You can now purchase like goal fireworks and such with coins for your team clubs and all that sort of stuff. I don't have much to talk about with the Strikers thing. I really haven't touched Strikers too much since the first couple weeks of launch. Can I tell you something though?
I suppose.
I
Is there any way I could stop you? Rhetorical question.
I think if you like crashed your computer, it
Oh yeah,
might
all they have to
break.
do is
Don't do
unplug
it.
this
Don't do
and it
it.
crashes
It would
everything.
break the stream, but I don't know. Pauline, her voice actor doesn't sound the same. I don't think it's the same voice actress. She is very much less subdued and way more Daisy-like, and I don't like that. You know how I feel about Daisy.
Yeah, you have an unreasonable dislike of Daisy.
I do.
She's practically the better Peach.
How dare you? First off, Pauline or Daisy?
Oh, kind of both.
I think Pauline might be my favorite of the three princesses. She's not really a princess though. She's a mayor.
Is there a difference? Oh, I mean,
yeah, it's
they're
little
essentially
bit.
the same thing.
a little bit.
Same job requirements.
Yeah, but Pauline. But I mean, actually, my favorite's Rosalina, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but then Pauline.
But she's not really a princess either, is she? She's a captain
She's
of her spacecraft.
A space princess. Where are we going with this? I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. It seems she's the personality just didn't really match from what I saw in the trailers from what she is usually portrayed as, and I don't know if that's like a conscious swap and she's going to be more Daisy-like. I don't know how to describe it. You just have to go check out the trailer yourself, or the update. Download the update, check it out. Yeah. And on that note, next news item, Micah? What you got next?
Yeah, the New York Comic-Con posted on Twitter, join us October 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the teaser trailer premiere of Nintendo and Illumination's upcoming Super Mario Bros. Film, releasing April 7th, 2023. So I think hopefully we'll finally get to hear some of that Chris Pratt Mario.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. That would be really cool.
That, or right as he's about to say something, it will just end. And we'll be left wondering still.
Can't wait for it to just be Chris Pratt's voice. It's a me, Mario.
That would be kind of funny. So you mentioned like working on the voice to make it like unique or something. I believe
it's just him again.
That where he just deepens his voice as much as possible.
It's a me, Mario. Hey. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they handle that. So hopefully we do finally get to see what he sounds like, and I am not expecting a lot from this. It's so funny to me that we are getting a teaser for a teaser trailer. What have we come to? We're watching trailers for trailers for trailers. It's bonkers to me. Question in chat along the lines of strikers. Does anyone in chat remember Switch Sports? Well, I'm not in chat. I'm not in chat, but I do. I like it. Played it fairly recently, visiting with my sister. They are playing it. They are playing it every week, and keeping up with all the like rotating stuff coming in. It's like, man, I wish I had time. I would do that.
But now you're in chat, so your opinion is valid.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that. Thank you for putting me in chat. Little me playing a saxophone. Nice. Cool. Speaking of cool. Well, actually no. Speaking
it's actually like the opposite.
Yeah, speaking of forget about Switch Sports about I don't have a transition. I'm not even gonna try here.
Well,
October 25th.
You already tried.
Yeah, I
crashed and burned.
This is one of the greatest transitions. I feel like we should spend the rest of the episode just talking before we ever get to and we'll take like an hour before we ever get to this next news bullet item. No, we're going right into it right now. Boom. It will no longer be possible to sign into a Nintendo account using a Facebook or Twitter account. Starting October 25th, 2022, Nintendo says, we apologize for any inconvenience. They are removing the ability to sign into your Nintendo account through a social media account like Facebook or Twitter. Is this the end of Facebook and Twitter? Golly, I hope so.
I don't think it will affect them too much.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know how mine is not set up through this. Mine's set up through like the Nintendo account and password info. I actually recently had where I got an email. It's like, notice that your password or someone attempted to log into your account, and I set up 2-factor authentication, which I don't usually opt to do, but it is a billion times more secure. So for things that I'm like really don't want to lose, then that's where I go for doing that 2-factor authentication. And so I did that for my Nintendo account, and it's all set up. No Facebook or Twitter there. But if you have a Facebook or Twitter account and you have not used the My Nintendo Rewards link your account to get free points, it's a lot of points. I believe it's 300 per. So 600 platinum points, which you can use to redeem for icons on the eShop, as well as physical rewards on the My Nintendo Rewards store. So do that before the support is gone, because I think that reward will no longer be usable. This is bizarre. I don't know why they're doing this.
Yeah, I mean, there must be some sort of reason, I guess, but it does seem really weird that this is going away.
Yeah, maybe it is a security thing. Maybe they've experienced a lot of accounts getting hacked through Facebook and Twitter accounts, which wouldn't surprise me too much, because those aren't exactly the most secure websites. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
What a
There's
transition.
A Splatfest going. It is going currently
what
right
happened?
now.
When did we suddenly start struggling with every transition?
I've never been good at transitions.
Speaking of security, what team are you in the Splatfest? Am I right? What is it? We should just
Obviously,
pretend.
you'd have to be Team Gear because they would have the best security.
Yeah,
in the
Splatfest going on
form of
right now.
Potentially a sword. I think that's kind of gear.
Or is it food? Or is it fun? Oh, it could be all three, depending on how good you are at eating. Don't eat a sword. Don't try that. Team Gear, Team Grub, Team Fun. We talked about this last week. Your Team Gear. Yep. I'm on Team Fun. I haven't actually selected which team I'm on yet because I haven't had a chance to log in to do that. But that's where my alliance is. On our Discord, Team Fun barely won it out. Team Grub was definitely trailing behind the other two by a lot. Team Gear, though, from what I'm seeing online, there's a lot of people that are pro Team Gear. They're very vocal about how it is the only correct option to pick.
I mean, it is the logical option. If we're being honest here.
In fact, on Discord, I believe, was it Purple Riolu that put Team Gear and tried to, let's see here. Who was it?
Gear can help you get food. That's the one where they mentioned that the Nintendo Switch should count as gear.
Yeah. No, that was Maddie Beth.
Oh, it was Maddie Beth.
Yeah, Maddie Beth
I don't remember in which channel
was
all
like,
this went down.
yeah, I was like, yeah, Gear could have my canned foods and spices. I was like, no, no, that's not Gear. I think what you got to go with for this is what they show in the little pictures on the post they did for it. And I believe that's like a little shovel, a lantern,
Is
and a
there like a
tent.
pickaxe in there or something?
That sounds familiar. Looking it up right now.
So all you Minecraft fans have to choose. Oh no, I guess there's no pickaxe. So yeah, it's a tent, a lantern, and a shovel.
A tent. Yep. And then Team Food has a can of tuna, some candy.
A lot of
Team
candy.
Grub. A lot of candy, like a lollipop, candy cane. Which, I mean, that's the first thing I think when I think Grub. I'm like, candy cane. And then I don't know what this is. A bottle of milk
Some
or
sort of fluid
Pepto-Bismol.
drink.
Pepto-Bismol is what it looks like. And then Team Fun has a deck of cards, which that's a win right there. Deck of cards. You can play a lot of games with a deck of cards. Books and a beach ball. I think I picked the right team. That's all I'll say.
Just
Deserted island.
float across the ocean on that beach ball.
Oh
Get to
yeah,
safety.
man. I'll get to safety with my beach ball. I'll build a raft out of a deck of cards and books.
I think I could
won't be
make a
bored.
sail out of my tent when I was ready to leave the island. And I'd
True.
sharpen my shovel, use it as an axe, chop down some trees.
True. And then you can use your lantern to start a fire. Team
Oh,
Gear
for
has
sure.
Team Gear has some points, but I don't know why you'd pick Team Grub. I don't understand that.
I mean, food is relatively important.
Yeah, but if you got Gear, you could get some food. If you got fun,
Theoretically.
if you got fun, then you don't need food because you're having a good time.
You can ignore such things.
That is like actually a thing. It's like by focusing on other things, you can evade starvation longer. That's like actually a real thing. I'm pretty sure. I'm not making this up on the spot. Okay. Speaking of making up on the spot, how about this next transition? Am I right? All right, let's go into the next news item, which is a new season of Fortnite has kicked off. Chapter 3, Season 4. Embrace the Chrome. Google is coming for us all. That's not really what it's about. There's like this weird goopy Chrome stuff that looked like... I thought it was... when I saw the teaser for it, I thought, oh man, it's Terminator. Like the Chrome Terminator.
The liquid. Yeah.
But no, it's like this monstery goop madness that turns you into the Terminator, essentially, the goopy silver chrome one. And you can chromify your weapons, your friends, and even yourself. It's kind of like that Midas Gold season. You remember that? Where like everybody started to turn gold. But
oh yeah.
But the chrome is like you can like phase through stuff, and it kind of turns you into that like spectral mode. So you can phase through walls and move super fast. Yeah, it's Splatoon. That's a good point, Ninfrendo. Metal Splatoon. Yeah. Wait a second. Also, I noticed in the shop on Fall Guys, there were squid hats. Do you think everybody's trying to capitalize on the Splatoon hype right now? What's happening? What's happening with that?
I mean, squids are just fun things to throw in. It's just theoretically a chance. It's a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coincidence that all these places are getting squids during Splatfest weekend. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's new season of Fortnite, if you're into that sort of thing. I have not. I did not finish my season pass last time. I'm very sad because I missed out on Darth Vader, but
You didn't get Darth Vader.
I did get Indiana Jones, though.
I think I got to level 7.
I don't know. I feel like I've sort of lost it. I'm not into Fortnite right now. I think okay, and that is not to say that I think it's a bad game. I think I overplayed it, played it too much. I still enjoy it when I do play, but just not into like the grind of it. Getting in and keeping up with the battle pass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It gets a bad rep, but it's a good game. I don't know. I think it just gets a bad rep because it's popular.
Yeah. Although it does seem to run worse and worse on Switch as time goes on. That hasn't helped.
Yeah. I don't think it's getting a bad rep on Switch. I think it gets a bad rep in general, just for
Yeah.
being Fortnite. But that's all we got to talk about in the news. So, what do you say, Micah? We move to the next segment of our show. Let's go visit our buddies, the Rumor Pikmin, in the Rumor Mill. We got a couple rumors to talk about here. Our favorite, Switch Pro, Switch 2, actually. An NVIDIA employee has confirmed the existence of the Tegra 239 chip, which has been rumored since 2021 as being developed for the next generation Nintendo Switch. So this kind of corroborates with a reliable, huge air quotes, reliable NVIDIA leaker Copite 7 Kimi's assertion that NVIDIA will use a modified version of its T234 Orin chip for the next generation Switch. What does all this fancy talk mean? Well, it means that NVIDIA is essentially there's a leak that there is a new chip that looks to be like the next generation of the Switch chip. That doesn't this confirms nothing in my eyes other than like there were rumors that this was what was being developed for it. It was like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
There's essentially a
Obviously,
leak about a chip that is rumored to be the next like Switch 2
yeah,
chip.
a leak about a rumor. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah. It's likely that the chip is real, but it makes sense. They'll be developing more technology. These companies don't just make one chip and then they're like, all right, well, we're done. We're not going to make any more computer parts. They're going to make the next thing. There's some. I have some details here on the stuff that is in it. But some of those things include like an 8-core CPU, and Ampere-based GPU that may incorporate some Lovelace features. I don't know what any of that means, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of reading at this point.
And it sounds awesome.
Sounds cool.
Whatever it
I want
means.
some Lovelace on my Switch. uh, yeah, and then also DLSS 2.2 and ray tracing support, which those are buzzwords for fancy lighting and cool graphics capabilities. So yeah, guess what, Micah? Here's a rumor for you: the Switch 2, the next Nintendo system, is in development. I hate to inform
Hopefully in
everybody.
2 years they don't have to scrap it and start from scratch.
I hate to inform everybody, but that is always true. Always, they're always developing their next system. I I I just don't. I don't know. Maybe why do we have this segment if I just get angry at them all? I don't know.
Yeah, we got this rumor, which is absolute garbage.
Oh, I thought you were moving
That
to
was
the
me.
next
No, that was
rumor.
me pretending to be you.
Oh, right now, yeah. No, I was like, oh, tell us how you really feel about the next one, Micah.
Yeah.
Well, with
Speaking of
that, let's.
the next one, we got some Detective Pikachu news. Apparently,
Rumors.
news rumor, of course.
Yeah, apparently a job listing has been spotted.
Yeah, for a senior game programmer using Unity with C Sharp.
Yep.
And then it does say something about Detective Pikachu 2. But this appears to be a game and not a second movie.
Yeah. Well, because the movie is based off of a game.
Oh, is it?
You
Detective
didn't
Pikachu it's
you didn't
based
know that?
off of it. Wow, yeah, I had no idea. Detective Pikachu is potentially based off one of the most popular IPs of all time.
No, Detective Pikachu is based
Yeah,
off of
it's a detective game
the game Detective
that doesn't have
Pikachu.
Ryan Reynolds though, so who cares?
Well, Pikachu does have an exceptionally deep voice in Detective Pikachu, which is pretty funny. And so it kind of led to, yeah, Ryan Reynolds for the movie, where it's not too bafflingly weird. Here's the specific wording in the job listing. Worked on one unannounced project and one nearing release, Detective Pikachu 2. So, according to this job listing, or actually, this may not be a job listing. This may be a person posting their job experience somewhere for something else. Said that it is nearing release in whatever listing they put. So who knows? I'm not angry about this one. Detective Pikachu 2, all for it. Let's do it. Bring it on. That way we can get working on the next movie, right? Am I right? See, that's all we got in the rumor mill. The Pikmin were very kind to us this week. They brought us back a couple of big rumors, but nothing too crazy. So, Micah, why don't we head to the next segment of our show? Let's jump over to community submitted questions and topics. Those come in the community corner. The community corner, the place where you can submit to have us talk about whatever topics and questions you ask. Yes, what I just said before we transitioned. That is what we're going to do. The first one comes from Presto the Magnificent, who asks, have you ever had a near-death experience?
Not particularly.
Micah lives a very safe life.
I did have a semi-truck merge into my lane once. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's probably the closest. Besides going to the Grand Canyon, which I feel like that whole experience is kind of a near-death experience because you're just like 5 feet away from falling to your death the whole time. So
Kind of scary. Not a fan of heights. I have an embarrassing story to share. Near-death experience. While I was dating my wife, we thought...
So it's not the time I almost collapsed your entire rib cage?
No, I didn't feel like that was a near-death experience. I felt like that was a near-hospital experience. What was the context? What were we doing where you had your knee to my chest pinned down? Just
I
wrestling?
don't remember. Yeah,
Like,
something
why
like that.
why would we have been doing that? We never our friend group never did that. I guess there was that time that we all went crazy with playing cards, throwing playing cards at each other.
Oh yeah.
Was it that time? It might have been. I don't know.
Who knows? None of our memories that good.
Yeah, no. No, I was dating my wife, and we thought it would be fun to get pictures on train tracks at a beach location. We were so incredibly close. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Wife to the side confirms I am not remembering this wrong. But we were so incredibly close to being hit by the train. Like, and you think I always thought, like, oh, you'll be able to hear it coming, and you'll see it. Okay, unfortunately, where we were at, it came around a bend of sorts. So it's kind of a hilled area. So it'd come around a corner where we were taking pictures. And we were like, it felt like we jumped off and then the train just went like, it was so incredibly dangerous and so incredibly dumb. And it's like, never, ever, ever play on train tracks. Ever. Just don't do it. It's too risky, too dangerous. And like, we did not hear it coming until it was way too late. We could have died. Near death experience.
Did you at least get
Trying.
some good pictures?
I think we got some pictures,
But
but
not worth it.
no, not worth it. Not at all. No. It was not good. And wow, very surprised that she continued to date me after we almost died. Whew, thank goodness
Well,
for that,
that
though.
actually might explain some things. I've heard that being in near death experiences with other people tends to make you closer to them, a little artificially closer. You bond a little bit,
So,
almost
are you
dying.
trying to say that
That just might
she
explain
felt
why
like she
things
had
move
to
so
continue dating
fast.
because we had experienced something so traumatic together?
Exactly.
All part of my plan. No, just
Yeah.
kidding. Please don't do anything dumb like that. The things that I did, or we did while dating, that that you just wouldn't do normally because your brain is not smart when you are in love. Um, still,
Wait, what are you trying to say now?
I'm trying to say that you make dumb decisions when you're trying to impress other people.
Because you're making it
That
sound like you're not in love anymore if you're not making dumb decisions anymore.
no, 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 not like that at all. No, we are very much in love today. I'm just gonna quit digging myself deeper and let's move on to the next question. Thanks for that question, Presto, and for me sharing my embarrassing story. Um, please don't do anything like that, people. Trains dangerous, very dangerous.
Yeah. Actually, wait, do you remember the semi truck moving into our lane? You were in the car at the time.
Vaguely. Listen, I had a train death experience that erased whatever semi truck could have come in to our lane. Was you were driving in the car,
Yep.
semi truck?
The semi truck. Fortunately, it
I
was
don't remember this.
relatively crowded, but fortunately, the guy in the lane one over kind of noticed what was happening and gave me space to be
Was
able
this
to
on
move
the
away.
way from college, to or from college?
No, I don't think I ever drove to or from college with you. It was we might have been
No,
going
we
to
definitely
your lake house or something.
no, we definitely did.
Did
My
we?
lake house. Yeah, I got my own beach house, you know. Um, yeah, we did.
I have no recollection of that.
We definitely did. We went to the same college for community college, and we went to the same college post.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
we
there's
definitely
also
carpooled to
Jacob
the
and
community
Lincoln in the
college.
vehicle as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I thought
Near
you meant
death
a
experiences.
college like not community college.
Roger points out in the chat. People grow closer when they share near death experiences. Meanwhile, Andros literally does not remember this one.
Yeah, a little
True.
hurtful. Well, we had already grown close up to that
We
point
were,
with me almost shattering his rib cage.
yeah. Oh man, that was
So
that was an
I held
experience.
his life in my hands. It changed me. Well, I held your
I
life
like it.
in my kneecap.
Let's move on. You want to ask the next one here from I Can't See.
Yes, it's a multi-parter.
Alrighty.
They start with why do you think they do these cloud versions when it seems like a good bit of the hardcore player base doesn't seem to want it? That's because it's easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just because they are already doing it. I I don't think that a lot of these cloud versions are exclusive server setup just for the Switch. I'm gonna bet that they also have these running on other devices via cloud, like phones, tablets, computers. So you can buy cloud versions. But in addition to that, I mean, there are people that will tap into it, and it is relatively easy to set up if you already have the infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean you don't need as big of a player base if you put fewer resources into it.
Yep. So it's cheaper on the cost of the company to make it that way. I don't think that I I think most developers would probably prefer to make native ports of everything because it's a better experience typically. Um, but I think that's why it's like sort of well, we want it to be. I mean, look at the Switch's sales. There is a huge audience there. I don't think that this is necessarily for the hardcore players. This is for
So a lot of these
people.
hardcore players will already have multiple systems.
Yeah, this is for people that don't have the option in other places, and there's enough of those to warrant having it, but they also don't want to pay money to afford it or find a way to make it work. So, looking at you, Square.
Yep.
Looking at you, Square. Kingdom Hearts. The second part of this question is, why do you think they announced them in directs instead of just doing Twitter drops? These are good questions. I don't know. I honestly don't know because I think it's because they're big name games. Sometimes I feel like Nintendo doesn't quite know who the directs are for. They advertise in directs like casual gamers are going to watch, but really that's for kind of like the dedicated fans of the company. And so I feel like these kind of get tossed in that regard, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because on paper it's pretty cool. It's like, well, here's this big game that you would never think you'd be able to play on the Switch, and now you can play it on the Switch. But you also
Yeah.
have to have a constant internet connection, and it can make it run not very well.
Yeah. You want to ask the last part of the question here?
Yeah. They then ask, do you think they'd be better as an NSO perk instead of having to buy them outright? I would definitely prefer that.
Yeah. I think that would be, but that's not going to happen because Nintendo isn't going to be paying these services to have
To like put their cloud games on NSO.
right, and those companies aren't going to do that with no return. So that's not going to happen except for in kind of like very specific instances. And I would say instances like for NSO, like 007 Goldeneye is one where I assume Nintendo's paying a chunk of money to all the parties involved with the ownership of 007 to have that on their system. And that is sort of a streaming service. That is a streaming service. I don't think you can play those games offline. You have to be online. But yeah, that would be cool. But I just don't think it's going to happen a lot because all. I want to point out here and clarify: Nintendo is not doing these. Nintendo is not setting up the servers and making the cloud-based systems. They are approving for them to be on their platform, but they do not own the cloud bubble that is they're not the ones doing this. This is all third parties. I feel like Nintendo would actually probably prefer that they get ports over cloud versions, but they're approving cloud versions because that's what they're going to get, you know? I don't know. But it does feel like who was this in the same exact discussion? I feel like I saw this somewhere else where our buddy Nick from Game Pass News was talking about how on Xbox people get so pumped when a cloud game is released. So it does feel like it's a very Nintendo specific problem, but cloud gaming in general has wishy-washy reception because it's not quite there yet. The tech is there, and it works better in some places than others. But I can't see it put it here. I'll read his comment. It says, I listen to a lot of Nintendo podcasts, and half of them have this try it only if you have the Switch mentality, while half just completely knock it. So it's either like, oh, use this cloud version if this is the only way you have to play it, or oh, I hate it. Like, there's nobody that's like really for it. The Switch cloud gaming performance is meh, to be honest. I do use multiple cloud options outside of the Switch, which specifies this is only console, because I can play more AAA games, and it gives me a Switch-like experience as I can play on TV, PC, handheld, via phone controller. So yeah, I agree. I don't want to knock on it too bad. I really I just hear a lot of negative. I haven't actually tried any cloud gaming myself on Switch, but I do
Yeah,
know
I
that.
think it's cool. It's just not for everyone. Not everyone has the right setup to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think part of the problem I have with it is that the beauty of the Nintendo Switch is that it does not require an internet connection to play on the go. Like, that's where Nintendo has always been. Back in the Game and Watch era, it's about playing without being tethered. And once you introduce cloud gaming, you are tethered to an internet connection. You have to be connected to the internet in order for it to work. Now, maybe we're going to get to a point as a planet where internet is beamed everywhere all the time, so everybody has access to it all the time. I don't know, but we're not there right now. And so it kind of takes away the freedom of being able to play on the go. You have to play where you have access. So that's my like major gripe with it conceptually. But if you're not leaving your house, is it a big deal? If you have good internet, probably plays fine. There's some good comments in here from our buddy Roger, a talking fish. I suspect Nintendo opens up time for games in their direct for money sometimes, like ad space. So that's why they're 40 minutes, even when there's nothing really of substance in that 40 minutes. You can see that. And then his thoughts on cloud gaming. The fact that you don't own the game and can't play offline, and they can always shut off the servers if they aren't able to sustain them, makes me think that cloud gaming shouldn't be a thing. Yeah, there's a lot of downsides, but like Micah said, it is cool. It does make it so you can play games that wouldn't run on Switch can run on the Switch. Maybe we ought to give it a try with a game. Like, we really should like give it a real try so that we
Yeah,
can
'cause I'm
give.
pretty sure they've had a couple demos, and I haven't tried
Yeah,
them
but
out.
the demos are essentially long enough to test if it's possible, not
Yeah,
really to play the game. So yeah, may just bite the bullet and buy a game just so I can have like my own experience with it, like talking about it and not just going, oh, this is what I hear about how bad cloud gaming is, you know? There you go. All right. Next question here. I'll let you take this one from Brian Eck.
they ask, "Do you think it's the perfect time for another Dark Zelda game?" And they go and say, "I just finished reading this article, and I agree. I want Tears of the Kingdom to be darker than Breath of the Wild. Interested what you guys think."
This is a Destructoid article by Noel Warner. It's the perfect time for another Dark Zelda game. Uh, what are your thoughts on this one, Micah?
I mean, I do feel like it actually is kind of time. It's been a while since it's been a little darker. And I mean, I generally don't prefer games to be too dark. I like how colorful these more recent Zelda games have been, but I guess a little darker storyline wise than the last couple have seemed to be. I mostly just want some like classic Ganondorf villainry going on.
I just, I, I feel like what would you consider Breath of the Wild to be? If it's not a Dark Zelda game, what is it?
It's
Is
a
it?
not Dark Zelda game.
It's not a happy bubbly game. It's not Wind Waker. You know, I feel like Wind Waker is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's like a happy
Yeah,
game. Like almost everywhere you go, just feels like happy and light, with some minor exceptions. Uh,
yeah. But it's no future time of. I mean, it's especially no future time of Ocarina of Time. That's pretty dark with all the
yeah, or Majora's
redeads,
Mask.
and
Majora's Mask has just kind of got some gloomy
it's
vibes,
creepy
but
and weird.
it also has like a lot of silly, weird, goofy stuff. And then Twilight Princess, I would like if I had to pick the darkest Zelda, I probably would pick Twilight Princess. It's just kind of more gritty. I feel like Breath of the Wild though isn't like it's just kind of in between. It has spots. I mean, especially up at the castle. I don't know. Like I don't know what exactly this means. To be honest, I feel like saying like, oh, I
it,
want a darker Zelda
it's because
game is
it
just
doesn't have any redeads, aka it's not dark.
yeah. Well, but we know that this is going to have redeads. It's at least shown one that we all suspect is Ganon, right? Uh, I don't know. I just feel like I like Breath of the Wild's tone as is. I don't think the game needs to be exceptionally made darker. So maybe I have I have an opposite take to what the article is saying, and that every Zelda game has some elements of dark. I don't know if I think like it's more likely to say it's time for another happy Zelda game because we haven't had one of those in a while. We haven't had a Wind Waker in a while. No, you don't want happy Zelda.
Well, I
Wow,
wouldn't
all
mind
right.
Happy Zelda, but I feel like it hasn't been particularly dark the last couple games.
No, like Skyward Sword wasn't, but Breath of the Wild, I don't know. I feel like it's good where it's at. So I'm okay with
I
whatever
feel like
direction
I'm
they take.
mostly just missing out on a good Ganondorf villain, I guess. That kind of
Yeah,
makes things darker.
yeah. No,
Because I want to be
I
scared of what Ganondorf is going to do.
I don't want the game to be exceptionally like scary or more like serious in its plot because I felt like Breath of the Wild was like a perfect balance of it was a very serious plot, but it had its moments of fun and it had its moments of being really sad and dark. I mean, spoilers: everyone dies, all the champions die, and I don't know. I just don't. I don't. I feel like this game has kind of hinted that there's like a little bit of a creepiness going on with the lore, but I think that in practicality, when the game comes out, it'll be more balanced, like Breath of the Wild is. I don't think it's going to be exceptionally dark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will,
I
but
don't think that that's
I do kind of
necessarily.
want some slightly creepy underground crypt stuff going on with Ganondorf.
Yeah, you want to scar children, just like we were scarred as
Exactly.
children. Ocarina
And we need redeads.
Redeads, man. Redeads are scary. Um, I like that's the other thing is I don't think it's necessarily as accessible of a game when you make it a more dark theme game. Breath of the Wild kind of captures this essence of like adventurous exploration, openness. It's bright. Uh,
Although
there,
I think a game can be dark while also being bright. I don't quite want it to be Twilight Princess. That's a little too much dark,
yeah.
figuratively, potentially, and mostly literally.
Hear my cat
Oh yeah.
having a hairball attack back. Ask the next question. I'll take care of this.
The Dame Ember Aqua of Chat Rule asks, after watching the most recent trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, I'm curious to hear how much of an impact you think the Zonai, I think that's how they're pronounced, may or may not have on the game's story.
So, for context, for those that don't know what the Zonai is, the Zonai are a theoretical civilization that predates the history of Hyrule as known in Breath of the Wild. So you see ruins that aren't Sheikah, that are not from existing like Hylian or existing groups that seem to be from a different group of people altogether, predating the history of the game, or somewhere in between. There's a lot of theories. There's a ton of great content and videos out there all around. I don't know why the name Zonai is what was latched onto. I can do some more research into that. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to dive into this more. If that's what the character that was shown in the like prominently in the trailer, the like weird giant owl creature thing. If that's what was being shown, or if there's something else going on. I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, the Tears of the Kingdom might be the Zonai Kingdom, I guess. If they
True.
also mostly lived in the sky.
Yeah, but we also have like history in Hyrule of sky people with the Ukos from Twilight Princess. Those like weird humanoid bird creatures. Birds with human faces.
That sounds horrifying. I don't
Just
particularly remember this.
just look up Uku. Yeah, you've apparently blocked them out of your memory. They help you like escape the dungeon. If you find them in the dungeon, you can teleport you out. So I don't know. When we watched back on the trailer, I thought it was very
Oh yeah, those.
very reminiscent of the Guardians in the what was that realm called in Skyward Sword when you're collecting the tears for the you know what I'm talking about? I'm like
I
I feel
remember
like
you
a
gather
poor Zelda
tears.
fan. Yeah. I don't remember what they're called. I'm gonna look it up on the side here. But yeah, what do you think about Zonai? Do you know much about the Zonai and past Zelda lore?
Not really. Just they have you get like a set of armor based off of them, I'm pretty sure. And then just there are a bunch of their ruins around, but I haven't really looked much into that lore. Also, I think they're called the Uka, and Uku is a specific Uka.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's why I was so confused, obviously.
Yeah. So if you look at Skyward Sword Guardians, I feel like there's a hefty resemblance to the way that they dress and look to what those hieroglyphics looked like in the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. And they are from the Silent Realm. That is what those were called. So they are dormant until you step out of like the little safety circle. They can be deactivated for 90 seconds every time you collect a sacred tear. And then re-entering the protective circle will calm them down. It's like it'll be interesting to see because I mean, again, tears. Is there a tie? Is this why they released Skyward Sword on the Switch? Who knows? We'll see. We will see. Thanks so much for the question. Dame Ember Aqua of Chat Rule. All the chat rule love in the names. Because next we have a question from Queen Maddie Beth of Chat Rule. What is your favorite Pokemon revealed in Scarlet or for Scarlet and Violet so far?
Me, it's got to be Fuecoco or Lechonk.
I think I will
It's
go
like the
with
adorable like chunker Pokemon.
yeah. I also am gonna go with Fuecoco. I really like Armorogue and Cerulege. Cerulege. Those are cool Pokemon.
I'm not a big fan of those two.
Yeah, I like them. I feel like they fit right up there with Gallade, which is another one that I really like. Um, Paldean Wooper and good old Smoliv. Smoliv's Smoliv just looks
I
good.
like Smoliv's facial expression and
Yeah,
very teeny legs.
yeah. All three starters are really good too. Can't say I'm crazy about Titan, Fido, Garaphii, Garaffaye.
Wait,
Listen,
which one is that?
the monkey that like
Oh
paints with
yeah,
poison. That thing's
Graphii,
hideous. It is
I
so
think,
ugly.
or
I
AA.
don't
Now I
like
don't
it.
remember. It's weirdo.
Yeah,
I think
not
that's
a fan
kind
of
of the
that one.
point. I do kind of like Cloth, but it's almost too similar to just like Krabby and Kingler.
Yeah. I want to see what these like evolve into, you know? Does LeChonk just come like
I
LeChunky?
bet he gets LaBeouf.
LaBeouf? Yes. He's just a bodybuilder with a pig face. It's
That'd be
just
incredible.
Machamp, but with a pig head.
And a curly tail.
Oh yeah, perfect.
I do also kind of like Palmy. Think
I
it's the
don't.
orange coloring
I'm not a
with that
fan
little
of.
bit of blue in the ears.
Yeah, they're like,
Good
hey, look, it's this generation's
contrasting
Pikachu.
colors.
They
That's
always
not a
try.
Pikachu.
It's got
Even
the
if it was, it'd be better than Pikachu.
cheek pattern. Got the yeah. That's what they're going for. Well, thank you so much for the question. I'm curious to hear. So let us know in the comments of the video or hit us up on social medias and in Discord what everybody else's favorite Pokemon announced so far are. With that, why don't we jump to the last section of our show and let's talk in and about the PAL topic. Well. It's been a Nintendo Direct last week. We dove into it. This was actually supposed to be the PAL topic last week, but we didn't have time. We're going to talk about it this week. Micah, what makes a good Nintendo Direct? Because I couldn't help but notice how many people were not happy with this Nintendo Direct. And I am starting to wonder if anybody will ever be happy with Nintendo Directs. If it's even possible for
Not
them to be
until
good.
they show off Metroid Prime 4. That's the one true scale of is a Nintendo Direct good? Does it have Metroid Prime 4 in it? If not, then no. Unfortunately, it is not good. But mostly, personally, for me, it's how many of these games am I going to buy?
Really?
Yep, and I mean they lose
Usually
points if
there's
they're
only
games we
like
already know about.
yeah, usually there was only like one
Yeah,
that,
so they only
that
get
you
a
end up
one
buying.
purchase rating. But this one had a Pikmin 4, which is a pretty good chance I'll be picking up, and Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, I guess we can call it by its legit name. But we did kind of already know about that, so it doesn't get full points. I can't remember if there are any other games I was thinking I'd get.
I feel like when it comes to Nintendo Directs, first off, I'm like looking for comments about the Nintendo Direct. Maybe we could just look at the Nintendo Direct on YouTube and see what the comments section was saying. And you know, results vary from platform to platform on what people think. This one here says Direct starts at 29:35 for those of you that don't care to watch it live. I think that is inaccurate, because in the live premiere it usually shows like there's a long time of like starting
Just
soon.
chilling, yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Well, this person says this Direct was awesome. Not my favorite Direct, but I appreciate the effort Nintendo puts into keeping people updated.
It was nice to include some smaller franchises like Zelda or Pikmin in their hardcore farming Direct.
If I took a shot every time Square Enix was in the Direct, I would be dead. That's what this comment says. I saw from several creators that they were bummed. They were like, there was nothing in here. This just felt like it was.
I forgot they also showed off Mario and Rabbids, which I'm going to pick up at some point.
I'm going to like kind of misquote here probably, but essentially, one good creator, if you've watched beat 'em ups, was like, this Direct was for a very specific type of person, and if you weren't that type of person, then it wasn't a good Direct. And that was for that was for, as he put it, fans of RPGs and farm sims. If you weren't a fan of RPGs or farm sims, then it wasn't a good Direct. And then was disappointed that there wasn't much shown of Zelda. Disappointed that all we got was a logo for Pikmin 4, and Fire Emblem felt too soon. And it was just like, so there's that other creator that was like not interested in anything here. Pass. I was like, oh, okay, that's all you have to say about it. So it just got me thinking, like, well, what makes a good Direct? What makes a good Direct? Because I felt like this one was pretty good, but I also felt immediately after like it was okay. But then looking back at all the announcements, was like, this is pretty hype. There's a lot of stuff in here. So I'm curious.
I mean, what makes a Direct good is different for every person.
And
essentially,
that's kind of the problem. Is that I think a lot of people forget that they're not the only ones that play the Switch. And that because they, in their circle, their sphere, are very excited about XYZ game, whether that be Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, just Mario as a series, Smash Bros. Like there was a time period where during when Smash Bros. Ultimate was getting DLC up until it ended, every Direct, there would always be people that were like, no Smash announcement, garbage Direct. And then Mario Kart, until Mario Kart 8 DLC got announced. No Mario Kart. It was like there's always people commenting about that one game that they are like, I want it to be here. So I'm curious, Micah, if you were to put together your what would be the best Direct? What game announcements would be in it for you?
Well, there'd be
Obviously,
the next Mario Odyssey.
okay. So
I
new
mean,
3D Mario,
there would have to be a new Zelda. I
new
mean, we
Zelda.
already know about Tears of the Kingdom, but if we didn't know about it yet or something, that would be going for sure.
So if it came out today, what would you want in it? Would you want just more Tears of the Kingdom, or would you want a new Zelda altogether?
Well, I mean, we couldn't get a new Zelda. I
Why
mean,
not?
we could get a handheld kind of Zelda, I guess. But I mean, I wouldn't want them announcing a new Zelda
Yeah.
besides Tears of the Kingdom because that would be way too soon since Tears of the Kingdom isn't even out yet. Luigi's Mansion 4.
Luigi's Mansion 4.
I mean, I would have said Pikmin 4, but we just got that. I mean, but I wouldn't mind seeing some gameplay.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 for sure.
Obviously.
And there'd probably be some other ones. Oh, yeah, Golden Sun would need to be in that direct.
A revival.
And then we'll just throw in some F-Zero because I'd feel happy for the people who have been waiting so long. There's probably some others I'm kind of forgetting that I'd remember. I feel like we don't necessarily need a new Smash Bros. Yet.
Yeah. I think I think I'm kind of in a similar boat. I'll say like my dream direct would start with Metroid Prime 4, I think would be like the kickoff. There would be an announcement of a new 3D Mario game. There would be a new I would want either a new F-Zero, a new Star Fox, or a new
Oh,
Donkey
I
Kong.
forgot Star Fox. Oh yeah,
So
and that
something like that.
3D Donkey Kong we'd heard rumors about. I'd love to see something like that.
I would want to see more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I would want to see more Pikmin 4. But that's like all first party. And
Yeah, the important
like
stuff.
but these presentations are just as much for third party and in some cases like indies, but
Yeah. Well,
they
I mean,
tend
it's
not to
hard
be
to
too
predict
much
what indies you'd want to see because
because they're
a lot
usually
of them are just new, unique IPs.
Silk Song. Let's go Silk Song. Does that even exist anymore? Who knows?
I mean, I haven't even finished Hollow Knight, so
Yeah, I'm asking more for the bazillions of people that want it that aren't me.
maybe newer Pokemon Snap. Be a good one.
Yeah, but I feel like what I just asked for there are a huge portion of the fan base, like what we both just described as the perfect direct, huge portion of our fan base of Nintendo's fan base, which is the same. If you're a fan of Nintendo, you're a fan of Nintendo, pals, right? Wouldn't be happy with it because we're forgetting a big portion. What about the Animal Crossing fans? So I think the Dream Direct
People even play those games?
I think the Dream Direct would also include a new Animal Crossing game that also has a roadmap planned out for live updates, similar to how they announced for Splatoon 3. Like, we're going to have this X amount of stuff over this time period.
I feel like Animal Crossing hasn't been out quite long enough to need another game, though.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But there's like, if you're playing Switch and that's your series, then that's the sort of games you're looking for. And I feel like this last direct kind of was targeting. It felt like a lot of people were trying to cash in on that cozy game category with how many farm sims they were, for how many farm sims they had, and yeah. And then okay, what about rhythm game? We didn't give any rhythm games in that. What if you're a Rhythm Heaven fan? You want that to come back? Like, this is the problem. Is that you talking to you, listener, are never going to be perfectly satisfied, and someone else is also going to be perfectly satisfied. Everybody has like their own idea of what the perfect thing will look like. And so I think most I think the unfortunate truth is that most people hook into one or two things that they specifically demand to see, and if those one or two things aren't in it, then it is never going to be a good direct. And that could change every time a direct is announced. Like, okay, this time I want to see Zelda and Mario. Oh, well, this time I want to see F-Zero, Star Fox. This time, or it could be every single time. This time it's going to be F-Zero. And you're just never gonna. You're just gonna come in disappointed. So I think that a lot of it is on the fans and not really like grasping that these directs aren't for just one niche. It's for like a general audience, and that's why you have such a variety. Because this last direct had a ton of variety. There were a lot of farm sims uh, and games that emphasized farming as a mechanic, but that's a popular genre, a popular niche. I'm not even gonna say it's a niche because that's such a huge thing. I mean, how many copies of Animal Crossing sold? Which isn't even a farm game. How many copies of Stardew Valley have sold on the Switch? It's like one of the top selling games on the platform. I I'm sorry, it's just not every game is going to be for you, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a bad direct.
I mean, it could just mean it was a bad direct for you.
True.
I mean, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with saying it's a bad direct as long as you clarify it's for you. You can't just say in general this is
But
a
that's how
bad
everybody
direct.
says it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody. I mean, people don't give. I think it was last week. Brian was like, people. It's tough for people to give nuanced feedback in social media spaces because you're limited to character space and explanation. So a lot of it just comes off as this good, this bad. Ooga booga. I like good. I don't like bad. We sound like caveman. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to like harp on this too much, but I can only think of one time that I thought a direct was bad. And that was like one of the very first third party partner showcase directs. And that is just because there was no Nintendo first party in it. And then the games they showed, because it's a third party direct. I'm not dumb. Like, yes, this is because it's a third party direct. But the games that they showed were absolutely not enticing to people that weren't excited for those specific games, and they were niche games. I was just like, I don't think that this was worth putting a presentation together for. But I want to talk about some other points here. What makes a good trailer for you in a direct?
Gameplay.
100%. I don't. I am okay watching cinematic trailers, but that better not be all that is there.
Yeah.
If that's all that's there, then take your trailer to the Game Awards, man. Like, we don't need you here in this Nintendo Direct. I Nothing bothers me more than not being able to see gameplay. It to me just shows like there's not a lack of confidence in, like, the game doesn't speak for itself, and you're making something.
Exactly.
It,
And then it's
it,
like trailers like that, like cinematics are good at like kind of hyping you up, but then you gotta see what the game is really about and what it's like.
yeah.
It also just hypes you up, and then you're like, well, I still know nothing.
Yep. So if you're not willing to show gameplay, then I'm worried that your game isn't that good, or it's not far enough along in development
Yeah,
to
or
show.
yeah, or it's just too
And
early to be telling us about it.
I think that's more often the case for AAA games. They're just not ready to show, but they want to announce it.
Although after saying that, I do think the Risk of Rain 2, like console launch cinematic trailer, is really good. But at that point, I'd already known what the game played like. I've already seen stuff about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
I
mean, not
think
to
if
say
I
that all
think if
cinematics are bad. I
I
just
think when
also
we
need to have gameplay.
yeah, I think when we first watched if we watched it when it first came out and there wasn't gameplay available to look at, we would have been disappointed. Like, that's it? That's all we get to see? I am not a fan of it's a title. Like I don't like that. That to me feels like kind of a slap in the face to
I'm
the
usually
fan
not a fan
base.
of that.
Yeah. I mean, you were hyped to see it when it came for Metroid Prime 4,
Yeah,
but
because we didn't know if they were actually making another one.
but was it worth it? I feel like then this last 5 years, you wouldn't be complaining about how long it was taking. You'd just be like,
Oh,
man, I
you're
hope it comes.
absolutely wrong. I can complain all I want about anything I want to complain about.
That's the only game Nintendo's really done that for, besides now Pikmin 4.
Yep, they
Another
tend to
game
shy
that
away
was
from that.
another game that was in
The
development
cursed
for
fourth
eons.
game.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, Another point I want to make for things that are good in Nintendo Directs, I like variety. Even if they're games I'm not into, I like to see a wide range of stuff. I don't want a bunch of the same thing. So in the case, the most recent example, like the farm sims, like that was too much of that type of game. And some of those games, like that's not even the whole aspect of it. They could have emphasized other pieces to make it less samey, but who knows? The game companies themselves don't know who else is going to be in the presentation. Poor timing.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to have the same idea at the same time. Animal Crossing came out about 3 years ago, and they were all like, "Oh, Animal Crossing was pretty cool. Maybe we could get in on some of that Animal Crossing crowd with a fun simulation game." Like, yeah. But I think I don't remember which presentation it was. One of the like Gamescom, something like that, had just a ton of zombie shooters. Space zombie shooters was like the thing. It's
Oh yeah.
like I'm just I- that's not fun to watch. A lot of the same
Unless you're a
stuff.
big fan of those kinds of games,
No, even if you're a
then
big
it's
fan of those kinds of
Christmas
games,
morning.
no, even if you're a big fan of those kinds of games, because I found myself looking at these presentations and I go, "Holy cow! There's a lot of stuff in here that I want to play." That's a problem. Then there's not enough time to play all of those things, and especially
Well,
if
then
they're all
only
like,
play the ones you really want to play.
yeah, especially if they're all very similar. So let's talk about the time period when Xenoblade 3, um, what was that other game? Live Alive, and it felt like a ton of RPGs all launched at like the same time. It's like two similar games. They were all being marketed at the same time. uh, I feel like there's something that can be done on the back end to just be a little bit better with pacing of those things, and in directs not putting them back to back as well. Like that happens sometimes.
Well, I
um
mean, just because they're all coming out at the same time doesn't mean you have to buy all of them at the same time.
yeah, but I do feel like they cannibalize each other's sales a little bit. If
Yeah,
Live Alive
probably.
came out in March and then Xenoblade came out in July, I feel like more those people that want to buy both will. But if they come out the same month, they might not because it's too close. So they'll maybe buy the game eventually, but at the same time, there's a flood of other new games coming. Octopath Traveler 2 is coming. Harvestella, another RPG. That one's the ultimate. It's the RPG farm sim. Yeah, I don't know. Like these are just thoughts I was having while looking at Nintendo Directs and wondering like what are we wanting? So give
I
us your
just think it's a
pitches
little weird to complain about too much of a good thing.
from me or just in
Yeah,
general from
kind of for
everybody.
you, but in
Oh.
general, if other people about complaining about the same thing, like, oh man, there are too many games I want. I wish they had fewer good games I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, but also to recognize that just because a genre is not for you doesn't mean it's bad, and also doesn't mean that it's niche and nobody cares about it. It's obviously not true. They're not showing games that nobody cares about. Even DC Superhero Girls Teen Squad had its
Probably
fans.
sold like 5 million copies by now.
I don't know, man. I just feel like for those parts of the presentation, just because I'm not hyped for it doesn't mean it's a bad direct. So what I don't know how to wrap this conversation up, but other than to say I don't think the theoretical best direct is possible. Okay, so let backtrack here to both of our perfect directs. Will those ever happen? No.
It's a decent chance.
No. When
Not
have
all
they
at
ever done
once.
that? When has Nintendo ever done, oh yeah, here is a Zelda, here is a Mario, here is with all of their first party stuff, a new
2017.
thing? Was that in a single direct? Did they have that? We had Mario Odyssey and Zelda. That's probably the hypest it ever could have gotten with first party announcements.
Yeah. But I'd just like to say I clarified eventually, not all in one direct.
Yes, that's what. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is that dream direct that everybody is? I'm
Not
not saying it.
not
You're
all the
holding.
stars are going to align at the
Yeah,
exact
you're
same time.
holding that at your A plus tier. If that's your A plus, it's
No,
not
that's the
realistic.
S tier. And there's a big drop between S and A plus.
I feel like we need to be measuring up against the best direct we have ever seen. And I think that
I
is
feel like that's just dreaming small.
yeah. But there's no precedence for it to be better than that. Like it could be, but they also are, I mean, in all actuality, can they be developing all of these top S tier games at the exact same time and then have them all ready to announce all back to back to back? I mean, the stars would really
They
have to
could
align.
do it.
I
They're not
I just
going
don't.
to.
Again, I just don't think that people are being realistic here. It's you think you understand how game development works behind the scenes, but nobody does. Nobody.
Well, hopefully some people do.
No, not even the developers. I
Like
mean, look how many times
we have no
Zelda
idea what
gets
we're doing.
delayed.
Oh, for real though. But that's because it seems like they generally decide we need to put more things in this game.
Yeah. I'm really harping on it. I just feel like every direct is a pretty good direct. There's been very few directs where I've been like, that was bad. That was just bad. There wasn't anything in there worth showing. They should have waited for something better to have in there. Now, in the direct itself, are there good and bad parts? Yeah, but I think that's very subjective to the person. Like you were saying, could be bad for me, could be good for you.
Yup.
In this last direct, I'd say there was a fair amount of things that I'm excited for.
Yeah. Although there's only like one surprise thing that I was excited for, being Pikmin 4. The other
Yeah,
two big things of Mario and Rabbids and Legend of Zelda we already knew about. It just kind of gave us a little more information, which I did enjoy.
I'm also pretty excited about potential Kirby and Fire Emblem with Marth, my favorite character.
I can finally play a game, a Fire Emblem game with Marth in it. I've been waiting
Yeah,
so long.
I don't know, man. I just have the ability to get excited for a game I'm never gonna play. Like, oh yeah, let's go. It's coming out. I'm probably not gonna play it, but it's pretty exciting. It looks cool. Someone's hyped. I like to do that, I guess. It's my one of my favorite things, to be excited with a community of people. And I feel like if you come into this community of people and you're just like, I didn't like it. It's like, well, thank you, you party pooper. Come in here and just being
Oh,
like,
I mean,
meh.
it's valid. People can say they didn't like it.
Do you have to?
They don't have to, but freedom of speech, yo.
I mean,
I
yeah.
don't want to not allow anyone to say they didn't like something
Why not?
because of Ocarina of Time. That's why not.
that I What's the thing? Is like opinions are like butts. Everyone's got everyone's got one. They all kind of stink. I
Sure,
mean,
that
just
can be
because
the
you
thing.
have an opinion, you don't have to. Yeah, don't have to share it.
You don't have to share it, but you have the right to share it,
What if people said no
generally
one likes
speaking.
Nintendo Pals? Would you want to hear that? No. I think feedback is good if it's constructive. So, and I think that there are a lot of great examples of people that come in and go, I liked XYZ in the Nintendo Direct, but there were pacing issues. Like, why did they show this and then this and then this? Why were there 5 different farming simulator games in this last Direct? Why was it so Square Enix heavy? And yet there's no Pixel remasters coming to Switch. Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. Like that, there's valid criticism and there's valid like feedback that I think hopefully gets somehow fed back into the machine that is the direct generator, and then they try and do better next time. But I think that process doesn't happen. I really don't think that they listen to and apply feedback to how the Nintendo Directs do, because their motivating driving force is money, not fan feedback. For what they're doing with Nintendo Directs, they're trying to sell you games. So almost always there's going to be tent poles of games in these presentations. In this case, I'd say it was probably Pikmin, uh, Zelda, Zelda being the biggest one, and maybe that Fire Emblem at the beginning. And then in between is going to be the stuff that won't have this already huge dedicated fan base, but that they're hoping that all the people that came for those big tent poles will sit and still watch, which they do, because then they complain about it, but it worked. You saw it. You know it's there. We're talking about all these farm sims. We know they're there. Like that's like that's what it's all about. They're trying to sell you on games that you're not already going to buy. Like we're already all going to buy Zelda.
Although not
What?
all of us, apparently. It kind of blows my mind that there are some games that the attach rate is just not like 100%. And Zelda
Like
is one
Zelda.
of those games.
Yeah.
And the other
There
one is
is no game
Metroid
with
Prime.
this just hammers back the point that we were making earlier about how it's never going to appeal to everybody. There is no game with 100% attachment rate, except for Wii Sports on the Wii when that came with the console. You know what I mean? Like there is nothing. The closest we've got is Mario Kart, and even that's like 38%, somewhere in the 30s.
Yeah.
That's not
Although
even
to be
close to
fair,
100%.
some people have multiple Switches and they don't really need multiple of the game. So I think that helps
Unless it's
with it
Animal
being
Crossing, then you
lower.
do need multiple of the game because you can only have your one island and all that stuff.
Who even needs more islands?
Who needs it? Yeah, I that's just a really valid point you bring up though, because even the biggest tentpole of games only appeal to 30%. And So I come in with all of this information in my mind. I j- I come in not expecting anything, because if you come in expecting things, then you're almost always going to be disappointed, because what do we just see happen? Metroid Prime remake rumor, really big. Zelda remake rumors weren't there. They weren't there. Grub lied, man. Good old Jeff. I mean,
That or he
he
was
didn't
right
know.
and now Nintendo axed it.
Yeah, he didn't know. Maybe he
Well,
got
now
punished.
we don't wanna.
Yeah, maybe Nintendo was like, well, if you're gonna leak what we're gonna do, we're taking it out. And maybe they're still there behind the scenes somewhere. Who knows? But I'm just saying, like, if you come in expecting things, you're gonna wind up with some disappointment. But if you come in like you do for, well, I maybe not everybody does this. I come in Christmas time having no idea what I'm going to get. I'm going to have a fun Christmas. So I open stuff up and am surprised pleasantly by everything. And then I got socks. Maybe not exactly what I would have asked for and it was on my wish list, but there's some cool socks. Or have you ever gotten a Christmas present that you don't like at all? that you're like, I hate this. I've told the story on one of our podcasts before how I got a keyboard for Christmas. Do you remember that story? I shared this story with you before? You don't remember it, so I'll share it again.
Nope.
I asked for a 3D VR game for Spider-Man. You put on Spider-Man gloves, and it plugged into the TV, and you wore glasses, or I don't remember exactly how it worked. It was not, retrospectively, probably absolutely terrible quality, like the worst of worst. Not a good thing. But it was a big-ish box. And when I pulled the big-ish box out from under the tree, I was so certain I was going to get Spider-Man 3D video game. And what did I get instead? An electronic keyboard, a piano. And the disappointment on my face was one of the most awful things I could have done to my parents,
Just a straight
who
gut
spent
punch to both of your parents.
who spent so much money on musical equipment because they knew it was something I would like. And I was so disappointed, but I, was like, thank you.
Oh wow, what a great gift.
I got so much time out of that thing, man. I got so much time. I loved that keyboard. I played it so much. And maybe more games need to be looked at like that. You're not exactly hyped for it out the gate, but it might be really good, and you don't know until you try.
Just like Echo the Dolphin.
Every game series started this way. At some point, you were like, I'll try it out. And then you got hooked, right? Like,
No game series has ever summed that up better than Desert Storm.
Desert Storm was
Mom
a good
saw
game.
it in a bargain bin. She's like, "This is $7. We should get it." And I was like, "It's in the bargain bin for a reason. It's probably a garbage game." She's like, "Well, it's $7. You're getting it," and it was fantastic. I love that game. And then I got the second one.
I'm thinking of like Spelunky for me. I don't know what even possessed me to buy that game.
Was it part of a Humble Bundle? I know I've gotten
Might have been.
Rampage
Yeah.
Nights part of a Humble Bundle, which I really
Oh,
enjoyed.
yeah. Yeah.
Castle Crashers as well, I think, actually.
Yep. A lot of indies that are some of like the most
Duck
popular
Game.
ones we got in Little Duck Game. Duck Game's more niche. I don't think that's.
Stick
But I'm
Fight.
trying to think like the first time I tried different series. So like The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. First time I tried a Zelda game. I had not heard of Zelda before that because I didn't have it on the Super Nintendo. And this is pre-internet era when everybody was online talking about games coming out and how cool they are. So I got Ocarina of Time. No, I had played Smash Bros. So I knew who Link was. And I was like, Finally get to play one of these Link games. Haha,
Wow,
cool.
they made this Ocarina of Time game
It's
based
like
off of
Fire
Smash
Emblem.
Bros.
It's like
How cool
Fire
is
Emblem
that?
for most Fire Emblem fans, right? Like they all played it because of Smash Bros. And then they're like, I actually really like this game. I'm trying to think of other like first party Nintendo games, like the first time I played them
I mean,
and
with
why I decided to pick up the game.
fun prank idea. If you have a child, convince them that Smash Bros. Came out first, and then all these other games are just spin-offs of Smash Brothers.
Perfect. Like, do you recall first playing Metroid Prime? Because Metroid Prime was your first Metroid game, right? Why did you get it?
Almost. I had played some of the handhelds. I
Why did
had
you get?
never owned one. I don't think though,
Like, why did you pick up that game?
because it was awesome. The cinematics were incredible. I'd always enjoyed the other.
Did you see the cinema? No, like what I'm asking is like the first time you were introduced. Why did you decide, hey, mom, buy this game for me? I want this game.
Because the trailers were awesome.
Okay, so you did see trailers for it.
And I knew I liked the other Metroid games. I'd played through most of like a couple of them,
Okay.
and they were taking it 3D. It was the future.
I wonder how many people have that experience with first party Nintendo games that people write off, like Fire Emblem. They're like, but someone watches that and goes, I've really enjoyed playing Fire Emblem characters in Smash Bros. And they see the cinematics and they're like, this game looks really dope. And then they pick it up and then they find a new series that they love. So it's like before you knock a game, before you knock a trailer, like just think about the games that you love. There was a time when you first didn't know that existed. The only game I cannot because I've played Mario for so long. I have no memory pre Mario. Mario has always existed in my life, so I don't remember what it was like and like why I picked up a Mario game. But I do kind of have memories of that for Zelda. It was because it was like, oh, he's in Smash Bros. And he's green. Green was my favorite color.
Was.
Still is. Well, Micah, that's all the time we've got for today. We got to get back to playing Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Leaf on our Nintendo 3DSs. But before we go, Micah, I just want to close out here. Thanks for having this conversation with me. It's fun. It was fun. I like. We kind of went all over with this one, but interesting pal topic. Listeners, please, we want you to be a part of this conversation. Jump on over to our Discord. Let us know what you think. What makes a good Nintendo Direct? What really boils it down to being good? What does your dream Nintendo Direct look like? Do you think it's possible? And realistically, how do you feel about Nintendo Directs in general? Are most of them good for you? Are they bad? Maybe they're not for you. Who knows? With that, we'll close up here. Micah, where can people find us?
On the internet.
That's true.
And
We're on the internet.
our houses.
Also,
we're not going to tell you where that is.
Don't do that. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We have a Discord. We have a podcast, which you, listener, could leave a 5-star review, should leave a 5-star review for our podcast. Leave us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, you probably already knew we have a podcast.
We have a podcast? Yeah, it's great. We also have a YouTube channel that is dedicated to gaming and stream to YouTube content. What does that mean? Well, you ever watch Small Ant? You ever watch Point Crow? You ever seen a Doug video? Those kinds of streamers that make YouTube specific content from the things that they stream. You want to see us do things like that? Challenge runs, speed runs, goofy game challenge and events. You want to see me wear a Daisy dress? Check out our YouTube channel, which we are really trying to push to get that to 1,000 subscribers. Would really appreciate your help if you go out and check that out and give us a subscribe. subscription, subscribe to YouTube, and check out some of our video content there. We put a lot of love and effort into those videos. They take a long time to produce, but they are very fun to make. So check them out. And with that, final shout out here to all of the people that support us over on the Nintendo Pals Patreon. Thank you so much for everything that you do to help make things like this possible. We are able to do some pretty cool stuff, and we've got some exciting announcements coming up. Oh my god, exciting stuff coming up.
We do.
That would not be possible without Patreon, without people subscribing to us on Twitch, and without you just listening and checking out our content. We really do appreciate that. Thank you to everybody. And here we go. We'll close out here with the Pokemon Patreon Poke Rap. I really need to give a definitive name of what this is. The Patreon Pal Poke Rap. That's not it. The Patreon Poke Rap. Here it is.
We gotta rap some Patreon. You just do the singing. I'll take care of the hard part. Let's get it on.
We want to be the best that ever was. And shout out our pals over on Patreon.
LPD, Rizzle, Retrologic Dave, You Dog Gamer, Schlim, Tor, Spanish, and Solo Something, Brian, and Little Miss 7 and Constant.
Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Patreon.
K9 Katina, Third Strongest One, Tim the Nintendo Diddle, and Seth Sturgill, Monkey Thunder, Purple Yoda, Dat Fast John, and Lava Plays too.
Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
Yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
Yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all. Patreon. Let's get 150 or more, yeah, please. To be a Patreon donor is your destiny.
Thank you all so much for listening. You can be a part of the Patreon Poke Rap too by checking out patreon.com/NintendoPals. Have a great night.